Welcome back to patreon.com/the Derrick Lamon Experience, your one-stop shop for your gaming news. Obviously, this episode will be out on Saturday, November 9th on Patreon, and then on Monday, November 11th on the free feeds, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, etc., etc. Welcome back. I'm recording this on Thursday, November 7th. If you're in the know, then you know today is the launch of the PlayStation 5 Pro. Congrats to everybody who's got their hands on one. I do want to say one thing. I think the launch was kind of fumbled. I'm not going to lie. It's crazy to have a release date for a console, and most people who pre-ordered the console will not have it in their hands today. I know specifically those who pre-ordered via Amazon, a lot of them aren't getting their console on launch date, whether you had Prime or not. I've seen one where it says November 11th. I've seen November 12th. I've seen November 15th. This just cannot happen again. And this is not common of Amazon console launches, because anytime I've ordered a console from Amazon, I got it on release day. So this is very, very strange. I don't know what has to happen for this to be fixed. The next major console release we're going to see is the Switch 2, and we'll talk about that in a second. But that can't happen when Nintendo launches their console. That just cannot happen when Nintendo launches their console next year. So hopefully they fix things. I have a lot of emotions about what happened on Tuesday, November 5th. I know a lot of you do. There is a video up here on Patreon if you're listening to this in the free feeds, or if you see this, I'm going to post this on socials as well. This video where I explain my thoughts and feelings about the election will not be locked behind a paywall. Everyone can access this. You just got to hit the link. So if you know somebody who has some questions or anything like that, please direct them over patreon.com/the Derrick Lamon Experience. And again, they do not have to be behind the Patreon paywall to access this video. I am making it public for everyone. So thank you for that. But let's get down to some business. I've just been kind of creating the show over the past couple of days because there's been more news coming in, especially since, again, the PlayStation 5 Pro launches today. The big thing I want to get out of the way really quickly, this is kind of crazy, but I guess, time has come. Death Stranding surprise launches on Xbox Series X and S as Kojima Productions takes control of the IP. Well, congratulations to Hideo Kojima. As a content creator, not only of stuff here, but also I dabble in music a little bit, and I work in independent film. The power should always be in the hand of the creators. Let me start by saying that. So congratulations to Hideo Kojima, especially everything he went through with that split from Konami. This is strange because Sony gave him the engine for this game. It's crazy that this is another instance where we're seeing a Sony, not a Sony title because this one is different, but MLB The Show, which is produced and developed by a PlayStation first-party studio. Now, the situation over there is different because Major League Baseball told Sony, hey, this either goes to Xbox and Switch or whatever, or we will take the license away from you. You figure it out on your own. And that's essentially why MLB The Show was on Game Pass day one when it launches every season. Konami, kind of did, not even kind of, they did Kojima very dirty, and he was ousted. He was not even allowed to take the stage with them when they won awards at the Game Awards the year that Metal Gear Solid 5 was released. Sony kind of took him in. They basically said, hey, you pick the engine you want of all the PlayStation first-party engines. And he settled on the Decima engine, and Death Stranding was built in the Decima engine. I would go as far as to say maybe Death Stranding 2 was also built in the Decima engine. I'm not sure. I'd have to double check on that. But so Sony published that title for him because having a development studio, I want people to understand, you can develop the video games, but the publishing is where the mass production of the game comes out. If you have an indie studio, that's why a lot of indie titles only come digital, because they don't have the money to publish and put out all those discs and stuff like that for people who still buy physical. So that's where the publishing hand comes in, and that's where Sony came in. It seems they've both done good in this relationship, and it looks like Kojima's looking to take his stuff multi-platform. So this comes from IGN. Death Stranding is finally on Xbox after Kojima Productions surprise announced the game's release on Xbox Series X and S. Hideo Kojima's first post-Metal Gear game first launched as a PS4 exclusive published by Sony Interactive Entertainment back in 2019, before releasing on PC a year later. Today, November 7th of 2024, Death Stranding Director's Cut is on Xbox Series X and S and Windows PC, courtesy of publisher 505 Games, and alongside a 50% launch discount, which is interesting. So that puts the game around $40 or so. Let's see. We're just going to go to xbox.com and see if, let's see if we can find it there. Are they discounting it from the launch price on the PlayStation 4 or from, let's see, Death Stranding. Look at that. It's the top search choice. It is $19.99. Oh my God. They're giving the game away for $20. Wow. That's heavily discounted. That is heavily discounted. I did not think, like 50%. So Director's Cut was only $40? I think I paid $10 to upgrade to the Director's Cut for PlayStation 5 because I own the title on PlayStation 4. So this is very, very interesting. Am I surprised by this? No, because Kojima, there was that whole thing at the Game Awards where Kojima was working with Xbox. And if you remember, there was a Phil Spencer interview. It's during the pandemic, so he was at home in his office in his home. And this is the one where people went back and looked later. The Xbox Series S was on the shelf the whole time, and nobody really realized it. But the thing that they did realize was there was a Kojima Lumen statue on the shelf as well. So when the people saw that, they're like, he's definitely going to be working with Xbox soon. And everybody's like, no, he's super team Sony. It's like, no, there's a Lumens thing on the shelf. He's going to be working with Xbox, and it came to be true. I'm just surprised at the price of the game. The timing of the launch, which comes exactly 5 years after the PS4 exclusive release, suggests Sony's console exclusivity deal for Death Stranding has now expired. Quote, Kojima Productions will continue its focus on bringing their award-winning IP Death Stranding to more platforms and audiences, a note to press reads. Meanwhile, Kojima Productions announced that it is now has full ownership of Death Stranding intellectual property. Congratulations. Hideo Kojima said, quote, "It is my pleasure to finally announce that Death Stranding Director's Cut will be delivered to Xbox players. I would like to thank all the fans who have stayed connected with us, as well as everyone in the Xbox community who have been patiently waiting. Kojima Productions' Death Stranding will continue to connect more and more players around the world, so please stay tuned." Here's the official blurb. One question, though, really quickly. What does this mean for Death Stranding 2? Will that be timed exclusive, or will that be all platforms day one? That's a big question. The official blurb says, quote, "Death Stranding Director's Cut challenges players to reconnect a fractured society after the cataclysmic Death Stranding event. This has opened a doorway between the living and the dead, leading to creatures from the afterlife roaming the fallen world, marred by a desolate society. Carrying the disconnected remnants of humanity's future in his hands, players take the role of Sam Bridges as he embarks on a mission to deliver hope to humanity by connecting the last survivors of a decimated America. Director's Cut is the definitive experience, which also introduces a new ruined factory location, a treacherous underground compound packed with fresh dangers. Sam also now has a wealth of new delivery assists, from cargo catapults and ramps to a stabilizer, which features thrust that assists with cargo weight shifts and reduce the impact of landing when jumping from high areas. Melee combat has been amped up with the addition of more moves, including a drop kick, whilst the new Master Gun can stun enemies and short-circuit vehicles temporarily with electricity. Finding the perfect weapon loadout is now achievable thanks to the new firing range location, whilst the new racetrack enables players to race and compete in time attack competitions against other players who are connected online. Protagonist Sam Bridges can even ride buddy bots to traverse the wastelands with greater ease. It's a busy time for Kojima and Death Stranding. Its sequel, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, is due out as a Sony-published PS5 exclusive in 2025. So that answers that question. So there will at least be time exclusivity behind Death Stranding 2 as well. And the movie based on the first game is in the works. Elsewhere, Kojima is working on OD for Xbox Game Studios and Fizzin for Sony Interactive Entertainment. Could Death Stranding's launch on Xbox signal an eventual release for Death Stranding 2 further down the line? I would have to say yes at this point. This just signals where the game is going, and I feel like that's definitely going to happen. They're already working with Xbox. Eventually, he's going to want the exclusive IP for this one as well. It's a franchise. There's no point to stop at this point. You know what I mean? So, big up to Xbox players. I'm an Xbox player. It's $20. Why not? I would assume it's the same price on PC. Let's see. Really quickly. Death Stranding Windows Store. Actually, Death Stranding Director's Cut Windows Store. Let's see how much it is on Steam. Let's start there. It's $20 on Steam. And if you have the standard version, you could pay $4.99 to upgrade to the Director's Cut. Let's see. I can't find the Windows Store PC price. Oh no, here it is. Windows Store Luna Plus, which is Amazon's gaming, launch price $19.99. So yeah, across the board it's $20 if you don't already have it. So it's a pretty good game. It's very lengthy. It is a desolate wasteland. I'm not gonna lie to you. If you're looking for non-stop beat by beat action, this is not the game for you. I have the game and I'm gonna tell you, you are essentially a FedEx or Amazon or UPS worker. You're delivering packages, and in between delivering those packages, some shit happens. But yeah, we all lined up to play this because we believe in Hideo Kojima, right? Like, I was one of the people, day one adopter on the Sony PlayStation 4. Like, I played this on my PlayStation 4 Pro when it came out. I then paid the $10 to upgrade to the Director's Cut when they launched it for PlayStation 5. Why? Because I believe in Hideo Kojima. Because he hasn't steered me wrong yet. This is the first time where I was like, I don't know, I really know about this one. But I think about Metal Gear Solid 5. I think about Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. And I still don't know why we don't have a release date for Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater yet, the remake, but it is what it is. But again, congrats to Hideo Kojima, sorry. Owning your own intellectual property is extremely important. People ask me all the time how much money I make from Patreon, and I tell them, well, number one, that's my business. That's between me and my daughter, because she also has a very heavy she's vested in the Patreon as well. This is not, like the name says, the Derrick Lamon Experience, but this is also Kennedy's as well. This is a company we share together. I'm trying to teach her to be financially savvy, something I definitely never was and still aren't exactly, but, I digress. But I totally believe in owning your intellectual property, and the power should be in the hands of the creators. And I say that as somebody who, has worked for an independent record label on multiple occasions and sat there with people while they crafted songs. I say that as somebody who has had their own publishing deal in music since 2010, December of 2010 to be exact. I say that as somebody that works in the independent film universe. Owning your intellectual property is extremely important, and I just hope that everybody understands that. Like, don't sell off what you created. You can license it for a term and make just as much money. So when somebody tells you, hey, I want to buy that from you, you sit down and have a conversation and you tell them, look, I will allow you to license it for a term, but don't ever sell your hard work to anybody, especially for coins, pennies on the dollar. It's just not fucking worth it. I'm telling you that right now. Anyway, so really quickly, we have some news. Assassin's Creed Shadows is upgrading the settlement system in big ways. Every player can create their own unique home base as you get an acre of land around 43,000 square feet. Build out the settlement however you like by putting down buildings as if you're playing The Sims or City Skylines. You can shape the roads and put down decorations wherever you want. With the rumored coupe made coming post-launch, it will be really cool if we can invite people to space recreated and launch coupe missions from there. They pushed this game back. It's interesting that the announcement of them pushing the game into 2025 came the same day that Sucker Punch showed off Ghost of Yotai, which is the follow-up to Ghost of Tsushima. When they showed off Assassin's Creed Shadow at Ubisoft Forward 2024, I said, wow, this looks like the Ubisoft version of Ghost of Tsushima. Even down to the HUD on the screen, it's like, that looks almost identical. Almost identical. It's like the meme about, hey, can I copy your work? Yeah, but change a few answers so it doesn't look like you directly copied. And they're like, okay, and they changed very little. Like, I'm like, this looks fucking crazy. Like, how do y'all not, like, and other people were like, I don't see it. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you fucking blind? So I, like, would take screenshots of Ghost's gameplay with the HUD, and then I would take screenshots that were shared on social media of Assassin's Creed Shadow, and I put them side by side, and I was like, you tell me which game is which, and they're like, it's the same game. I was like, no, that's Ghost of Tsushima, and that's Assassin's Creed Shadows. And they're like, no fucking way. I'm like, yes fucking way. Like, what are we talking about here? So, I find it kind of funny that they're trying to change fundamentally what the game is. So I don't know if they heard backlash, if they heard people saying it looks like Ghost of Tsushima or whatever the case was. Ubisoft has not done very well this year, to be completely honest with you. They need to get back in the war room and figure out what they are going to be. Star Wars Outlaws, I really wanted that game to work because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense at all. This just like how bad that game fundamentally was upon launch. Beyond Good and Evil 2, does that even really exist anymore? You know what I mean? So I just kind of find myself wondering, like, what is going on here, man? What is going on over at Ubisoft Games? So they need to sit down and figure out what's going on. Certainly, I don't think these changes, this home base, I don't think that that's going to make that game sell any more than it already was or wasn't going to sell. Like, Assassin's Creed is not supposed to be Sims or City Skylines. That just doesn't make sense to anybody fundamentally. I really need people to stop and think, like, this is not what you want from a game about an assassin, especially in feudal Japan. If they went back to the drawing board and said, we're going to add a home base, and everybody in that meeting was like, that sounds fantastic, you need to remove some people from around that fucking conference table because that does not sound fantastic. In fact, that sounds very stupid. And I don't understand how we got here. So, I don't know. Best of luck to everybody at Ubisoft because this just sounds like a very, very bad idea. Some different news, though. This is going to be a quite short show because there wasn't a lot of gaming news this week, and a lot of that I think had to do with the election, but it is what it is. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has now sold over 35 million copies. Highest selling fighting game ever. Congratulations to Nintendo and to Bandai Namco. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate just took everything that Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U did and kind of improved upon it, and then it added every character who had been in a Smash Brothers game, and then it added other people like Cloud Strife and Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII, which was huge for me. Joker from Persona 5. Who is it that they added from Castlevania? I can't remember, but they just added everybody, the entire lineup. They just kept adding people, and it's like, this is really, really cool. I have every single fighter in the Smash Brothers Ultimate Universe unlocked in the game. If I'm pretty sure, I would have to go back and check, but I'm pretty sure I have every single fighter unlocked. So I don't know, but congrats, man! Over $35 million copies on a fighting game, and to boot, let's just do the math, right? Because Nintendo just does not discount games anymore. So let's see. 35 million by $60. It's like $2.1 billion if I'm not mistaken. That's a lot of money to make from a game that people are like, this is kiddie, it's not Mortal Kombat, it's not Street Fighter. Well, it's the greatest selling fighting game of all time, so congratulations to them. I'm not going to say that they're working on the backs of everything that Acclaim and Midway and NetherRealm did with Mortal Kombat, or what Capcom did with Street Fighter, or what was done with Fatal Fury and games like that. Like, there's a lot of fighters the world over. And I wouldn't go as far as to call it a niche community, but a lot of people don't know what EVO is. Like, EVO is a tournament for fighting games, right? But I still wouldn't necessarily call it a niche community. I just think that you have people who really, literally buy a PlayStation console every generation to play Gran Turismo from Polyphony Digital. And they're like, I have an Xbox and I have a PlayStation. Like, well, why do you have both? For me, the answer is this. I want to exist in every gaming ecosystem. I don't want to be locked out of playing a game I want because it's not on the console of my choice. So that's my reason, right? For other people, there are literally people who say, yeah, I only buy PlayStation to play Gran Turismo. So they're like, well, did you get the new PlayStation? No. When they announce the release date for Gran Turismo, then I will buy the new PlayStation. There are people like that. And there are literally people who buy consoles just to play fighting games. Like, that's literally a thing. So I'm all like, a lot of people want gaming uniformity, and I don't think that that's the best, because if one person has ultimate control over gaming as a whole, then laziness, right? Like, competition breeds creativity. We don't need Microsoft to go away, and anybody who thinks that Xbox should go away is out of their minds. Xbox has to exist to push Sony. Kojima putting Death Stranding on Xbox, that's actually good for gaming. Because it's going to push Sony to be like, okay, we need to go out and either create the next great gaming IP or go get with these smaller studios and see what they're working on, and then possibly publish their titles. And then maybe, like, I'm not saying they should go acquire these smaller studios, because clearly that hasn't worked out as of late for them. I wouldn't go as far as to call Insomniac a small studio, because Insomniac had a very, very rich history. They had the highest selling superhero game of all time, which was Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4, before Sony actually acquired them, right? So I'm not saying that should happen. I'm just saying that competition breeds creativity. If there is no competition, it allows the others to rest on their laurels and be extremely lazy and give us half-baked consoles and shitty games and stuff like that. And it's like, well, we paid for this, and this is what we asked for, right? So anybody that's still console warring in 2024, almost 2025, number one, you're an idiot for that. Number two, just kind of let this shit go, please. But again, congratulations to Nintendo and Bandai Namco. Over 35 million copies, actually. So we're talking, they're in $2 billion worth of sales for one particular game. Which tells me when it's time for the next Smash Brothers title, if that's a thing, because we've heard that this may have been the last one, and that's why it was called Ultimate. If they do make another Smash Brothers title, which I would have to imagine, Nintendo owns the IP. So whether the creator wants to make another one, Nintendo's going to get another Smash Brothers game, whether they like it or not, right? The main characters in the Smash universe are Nintendo IP. And they have a partnership with Bandai Namco. So the game's going to get made whether the creator, and I can't think of his name right now, whether he wants to make it or not. I'm just being completely honest with you. And this goes back to the conversation I had about intellectual property. Hello. So we'll see what happens. Now, I just want to update you guys on some other things, especially Nintendo. So let's talk about that really quickly. Where are we at? Here we are. So, this coming from VideoGamesChronicle.com, our good friends over there. Good news, Switch 2 will be backwards compatible with Switch, Nintendo confirms. Now, they did not confirm the name will be Switch 2. It could be, but there's been nothing about the name yet. In a post on X, a message from Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa also announced that further information about the successor to the Nintendo Switch would come at a, quote, later date. Quote, this is Furukawa. The message reads, at today's corporate management policy briefing, we announced that the Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to the Nintendo Switch, which is awesome. Nintendo Switch Online will be available on the successor to the Nintendo Switch as well. Further information about the successor to the Nintendo Switch, including its compatibility with Nintendo Switch, will be announced at a later date. Post also confirmed that Nintendo Switch Online will be available on the successor console. No further details on implementation were announced. Earlier today, Nintendo reiterated it still intends to announce its next console hardware before the end of its current fiscal year, which concludes on March 31st of 2025. President Shintaro Furukawa made the comments during an online press conference on Tuesday following the publication of Nintendo's latest earnings results. The executive did not add any additional details. According to a report, developers have reportedly been briefed not to expect Nintendo's next console to launch before April of 2025, which is what I guessed anyway. Quote, no developer I've spoken to expects it to be launching this financial year, said GI.biz journalist Chris String. In fact, they've been told not to expect it in the current financial year. A bunch of people I spoke to hope it's out in April or May time, still early next year, not late. Quote, I don't think any of us wants a late launch for Switch 2 because we all want a new Nintendo console. Everyone gets very excited for it, and we don't want that crunch of Grand Theft Auto 6 and Switch and all that stuff kind of on top of each other. Having launched in March of 2017, Switch is in its eighth year on the market. In July, it surpassed the Famicom as the Nintendo console with the longest lifespan before being replaced. Here's the thing. I do think it's possible that they are going back to a fall launch for the console. I just want to be very, very transparent about that. Consoles generally launch this time of the year, a la the PlayStation 5 Pro being out here in November. When the Switch came out at the beginning of March 2017, when that was announced as the release date, a lot of people thought it was very strange. So for them to be back in that area. I don't see them. They're going to announce it before the end of the fiscal year, which will be March of 2025. Last time, the full announcement came January of 17, and the console came out March of 17. But the reveal came October of 16. So the fact that we haven't got any sort of a reveal or anything, and it's almost the end of the year, I kind of feel like this is going to launch in the fall of 25. I kind of feel like that's going to happen. We don't know anything yet. Of course, I will have the news for you guys when it's available, but I'm just saying, here we are at this point. In other news, and this is very interesting to me, but it's cool. A sequel, this comes from the man himself, Jeff Keighley, a la the Game Awards. A sequel to Hogwarts Legacy is now in production and a, quote, very big priority. The game is planned to coordinate storylines with the upcoming Harry Potter HBO series, according to WB Games president David Haddad. The source is Variety. I have an issue with this. I don't have an issue with the game being in development, because I love Hogwarts Legacy. The timing and it coinciding with the Harry Potter television series that's coming to Max, because it's going to be they're just now casting for that series, number one. So I don't expect to see anything until 26 or 27 at the earliest, right? Hogwarts Legacy takes place like 100 years before the Harry Potter saga. Like, this is prior to Voldemort and all of that. So, in order for this game to work, and for them to tie it in with the TV series, this tells me, one, the TV series on Max probably is not going to follow the Harry Potter books. That's number one. And number two, there's going to be a huge time jump. The time jump, not an issue. I don't know if they're going to mess with the original Harry Potter lore. Or if they're doing this to get J.K. Rowling out of the way, then you know what? I have no problem with it. I have no problem with it. I understand that she created the universe, and we are thankful for that, but that does not excuse her of being a deplorable, despicable, disgusting human being for her thoughts on, the trans community. So, if they want to get her the fuck up out of here, Derek's got no problem with that. I'm going to tell you that, guys, right now. So, but I am excited that the game is in development, and it is a huge priority. That's very, very good. That's music to my ears. I don't know. I'm thinking we're not gonna see the TV series till 26, 27, and we're not gonna get the game till around the same time. So it should be very, very interesting. And other news from Jeff Keighley: in its earnings, Take-Two Interactive has reiterated that Grand Theft Auto 6 will release from Rockstar Games in, quote, the fall of calendar 2025. So we're not getting it in the spring or anything like that, which I didn't expect. I think the only Grand Theft Auto title to release in the spring since GTA 3 swept the world was Grand Theft Auto 4, which was on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and it got pushed back. We're looking at fall 2025, which is what I thought at the beginning either way. I'm expecting there to be a trailer at some point, the second trailer, maybe at the Game Awards, maybe sometime early next year. Rockstar doesn't do their own gaming show. They very rarely ever participated in E3, which is not a thing anymore. So I would imagine if Sony does a PlayStation 5 showcase, I could see them showing a trailer there. Remember when they did the first PlayStation 5 showcase in June of 20, I think the Rockstar logo was the first thing we saw, which was the expanded, enhanced edition of Grand Theft Auto 5. So it could show up there, or it could show up at the Game Awards. Who knows? Jeff Keighley is usually good about getting those big things, or he had been. There was nothing really of super consequence or note at Summer Games Fest, and he let people know that in advance, like, hey, don't expect a lot of big stuff. And we're like, he's just joking around. And it was like, no, don't expect a lot of big stuff, because I don't really have shit. But I am very excited. I can't wait to see what we see in the next Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer, and I can't wait to play the game. So, we'll see when we get to that point. In other news, this is very, very interesting. This comes from TheVerge.com. Nvidia to cap game streaming hours on GeForce Now instead of raising fees. The priority membership is also being renamed to Performance, includes 1440p and ultra-wide support. Well, congratulations on the 1440p and ultra-wide support, but wow. Nvidia is announcing some big changes to its GeForce Now cloud streaming service today. The existing priority membership is being renamed to Performance with 1440p streaming, ultra-wide resolution support, and the ability to save graphics settings across streaming sessions. Nvidia is also introducing a 100-hour monthly playtime cap for new Performance or Ultimate GeForce Now members starting on the 1st of January 2025. New GeForce Now members that sign up for the service from 2025 onward will have a cap on monthly playtime set at 100 hours. That works out to around 3 hours of usage every day of the month. Wow. Nvidia says it's putting the cap in place to avoid increasing membership prices in the foreseeable future. Let's see. This allows GeForce Now to continue providing unparalleled quality and speed as well as short to no queue times for all paid members without increasing membership fees, says Nvidia in a blog post. This change will affect less than 6% of the members. This is bullshit. While this cap will only initially impact new GeForce Now members, all active paid subscribers as of the end of this year will still lose their unlimited playtime on January 1st of 2026. After that date, all GeForce Now subscribers will be subjected to the 100-hour playtime cap. GeForce Now subscribers will be able to carry over 15 hours of unused time automatically to the next month, but if you hit the 100-hour cap, then you'll need to purchase additional playtime or play using the basic rigs for the remainder of the month. GeForce Now subscribers will be able to purchase 15 hours of extra playtime with the Performance 15-hour blocks priced at $299 and the Ultimate 15-hour playtime priced at $599. Nvidia is also offering a 25% discount on Ultimate and Performance Day Passes until November 22nd, which you can then upgrade to a monthly or 6-month recurring membership to lock in a full year of unlimited playtime ahead of the 100-hour playtime caps for existing members in 2026. I don't use GeForce Now, so this does not apply to me, but for people who do, it sucks. I remember one time where I lived in a very rural area, and we didn't have great internet, and we had to pay for satellite internet, and it was like a usage of 500 gigs per month. And I could blow through that really quickly, because at that time I was running a blog. I was doing, this is where I started my podcast journey, stuff like that. I was very heavily active on hip-hop and gaming blogs and stuff like that. And that 500 gigs was gone like that. So anytime there's a cap on anything like this, it worries me. I remember a couple years back they were having the conversation about, I think it was net neutrality or something like that, where our internet usage would be capped, and people vehemently voted against that. I think Nvidia is being very dense in this particular situation, and this is not great business by any means whatsoever, so I don't think this is going to work out in their favor. But hey, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Just saying. But, we'll see. We will see. What else do I have for you guys? Oh, so now we're going to talk PlayStation 5 Pro patches, because we're at that point with the console being out at this point as of the time you guys are hearing this. So, our good friends over at Naughty Dog, a first-party PlayStation studio, of course, they would have the information. So there's patches for 2 games. So, The Last of Us Part 1, patch 2.0. A patch for The Last of Us Part 1 on PlayStation 5 is now live. This update adds feature support for the PlayStation 5 Pro as well as additional minor fixes. PlayStation 5 Pro information. New rendering mode that takes advantage of PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, PSSR. New Pro mode. Mode renders at 1440p with PSSR upscaling output to 4K while maintaining a target of 60 frames per second. Performance and fidelity rendering modes are still available and provide smoother experience and high frame rates compared to the original PlayStation 5. Enhanced features require a compatible display in addition to the PlayStation 5 Pro console. General. Fixed issue where New Game Plus mode wasn't being applied when using Chapter Select. Fixed an issue where a player's artifact collection could be desynced with their save data, preventing trophy acquisition. Fixed an issue where a game could be locked at 40 frames on boot up when using a 4K VRR monitor. Gameplay. Fixed an issue where players could become unable to swim quickly due to binding conflicts with the custom control scheme. Fixed an issue where the speedrun timer could revert to the most recent checkpoints time if the player quit or the game crashed. Billstown fixed an issue where Ellie and Bill would not follow the player as expected. Lakeside Resort improved Ellie's accuracy with the hunting rifle while crouched. The University fixed an issue where library generator that could affect progression. Bus Depot fixed issue where Joel's flashlight would turn on when inspecting certain artifacts despite being in direct sunlight. As far as accessibility, added additional support so that more PlayStation 5 console accessibility settings are now reflected in game. Pittsburgh fixed an issue where a generator could be pinged by enhanced listening mode before intended. Tommy's Dam fixed an issue on New Game Plus where there was no prompt to turn the hand wheel. Left Behind Back in a Flash fixed an issue where navigation assistance could become disabled unintentionally. So those are the patches for The Last of Us Part 1 on PlayStation 5 as well as PlayStation 5 Pro support. So shout out to Naughty Dog. But again, being a first-party studio for Sony and being basically the crown jewel of Sony first-party studios, you knew this was coming. Now there's also a patch for The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. This is patch 1.2.0. Patch for The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is now available. This update adds feature support for the PlayStation 5 Pro as well as additional minor fixes. PlayStation 5 Pro, new rendering mode added that takes advantage of PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution PSSR. New Pro mode renders at 1440p with PSSR upscaling output to 4K while maintaining a target of 60 frames per second. Is there, you know what I haven't heard anything about? Uncharted Legacy of Thieves. Are they going to patch those games? That's that's a, okay, well, I'll check on that. Performance and fidelity rendering modes are still available and provide smoother experience and high frame rates compared to the original PlayStation 5. Again, enhanced feature requires a compatible display in addition to the PlayStation 5 Pro console. Again, General fixed an issue where some trophies would not unlock after importing PS4 save data. Fixed an issue where Abby's torso could disappear when switching between her bonus skins. What? What the fuck? Gameplay. The tunnels fixed an issue where Dina could be grabbed by an additional time while escaping in the subway. No Return fixed an issue where the stun mob was not being accurately counted towards the player's stun stats. Fixed an issue where some weapon kills were not accurately tracking toward player stats when performing stealth kills in between those weapon kills. Fixed an issue where shiv kills were not being accurately counted toward the player's shiv stats. Audio. On foot fixed an issue where music tracks would not progress as intended when speedrunning. Accessibility added additional support so more PlayStation 5 console accessibility settings are now reflected in-game. The tunnels fixed an issue where code for the locked room could not be located using enhanced listen mode. And then No Return fixed an issue where enemies specified by a gambit were not properly identified when using high contrast mode. Localization, various minor localization fixes across multiple languages. So let's go to the Naughty Dog main page. I want to see if they have... So they have nothing under Legacy of Thieves PS5, so I don't know if this is the aim. Eventually I would have to imagine it's going to get PS5 Pro support. Let's Google this. Will Uncharted ever come to Xbox? No. Whoever went into Google and typed this, you're out of your mind. No, Sony is not letting their biggest IP. The best you're going to get is having it on PC. Anyway, Legacy of Thieves get PS5 Pro support. There's a whole Reddit thread about this. Has there been information regarding the Legacy of Thieves collection? I know TLOU 1 and 2 are supported. Since Uncharted 4 has an unlocked frame rate, do you imagine the game will just automatically benefit from the upgraded GPU of the Pro? According to Digital Foundry's coverage of the game back when the 40 frames per second and unlocked FPS modes dropped, they highlighted the quality mode 4K output still had some overhead with the average frame rate hovering between 45 to 50 frames per second when unlocked. Given the PS5 Pro's 45% GPU boost, it wouldn't be unreasonable to see that the quality mode's FPS bump up to between 60 to 75 frames without a Pro enhancement even dropping, as long as there's no bottleneck on the CPU side of things. On a VR-enabled TV, that is going to look very nice and smooth performance-wise. I do still hope that they drop a Pro enhancement though. A locked 60 frames for quality mode would improve the experience for those who do not have VRR enabled or 120 Hz enabled 4K displays. Locking the frame rate to 60 frames per second might also give them a bit of extra compute power overhead to potentially improve other aspects like having items render further into the distance and reduce visual pop in of objects. So no news on a Pro support for Legacy of Thieves at the moment. Yeah, so, and then lastly, from our good friends over at the Hello Games, the No Man's Sky team, they have an announcement today. Hello, this year has already been a very busy one for No Man's Sky with 6 updates already this year, including the huge Worlds update. Our last update, The Curse, dropped a couple of weeks ago, and players have been loving the spooky Halloween vibe. In-game development, some features take weeks or months and others take years. Today we are releasing some features that have been years in the making. Cross-save. Starting from today, we are rolling out cross-save support on all platforms. This has been a huge undertaking and it's one of our most requested features. Being able to jump seamlessly between platforms is really transformative. Players can, from the comfort of their sofa on console, continue an expedition on the move with Switch or Steam Deck, build an incredible base on their beefy PC rig, and view it in an incredibly immersive virtual reality. No Man's Sky now supports cross-play and cross-save between a huge number of platforms, including PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, Game Pass, GOG, Nintendo Switch, Steam Deck, PlayStation VR 1 and 2, and PC VR. Everything is listed here, as well as the Mac logo. So this, I would assume, takes place on the Mac as well. No Man's Sky really supported this game everywhere. The only thing I don't see, the Epic Games Store, yeah, that's it. Steam, Mac, Nintendo Switch, GOG.com, Game Pass, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5. So shout out to Hello Games because they really supported this game. Adding the ability to transfer saves between platforms via a server is especially difficult for No Man's Sky as the work involved increases with each platform supported and how long folks have already been playing for. Both those numbers are large for our tiny team. It's very common for players to rack up thousands of hours of saves exploring across space, building elaborate bases, and cataloging their discoveries with incredibly detailed saves. Adding cross-save for us is a little bit like moving the house. The longer people have lived there, the more complicated it is to move them. We also have players who played once at launch 8 years ago, suddenly loading up a save on a platform that didn't even exist back then. For these reasons, we have secretly been introducing the technology for this update for over 6 months. We are now ready to start rolling cross-save out to a small number of players. From today, all No Man's Sky players can connect their different platform accounts together at https://cloud.nomansky.com/cross-save. A subset of players will then be admitted to the beta. Participants in the beta will be able to upload and download saves from any connected platform via the in-game save screen. In the coming weeks, all players will be invited to do so. So congratulations to them, that is really big. Now, the PlayStation 5 Pro. PlayStation 5 Pro releases today, and it is an incredible feat of engineering. We were so excited to get our hands on it from early days of development. We couldn't wait to see what was possible in No Man's Sky with so much power at our disposal. We're excited to be able to share an enhanced version of No Man's Sky for PlayStation 5 Pro with players at launch, bringing even more detail and higher image quality than ever possible on console before. They have a screenshot and it does look absolutely amazing, and even with the draw distance, you can still see the high resolution in this picture. PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution allows for incredible upscaling to provide crisp 4K resolution at 60 frames per second. No Man's Sky will also be an early supporter of 8K resolution, with the universe looking incredible in 8K at 30 frames per second. As well as much sharper resolution at higher frame rates, the increased power of the PlayStation 5 Pro has enabled us to ramp up the graphical quality across the board. Players on PlayStation 5 Pro will see improved lighting with ultra-quality reflections and higher quality ambient occlusion in all modes. Explore the most beautiful and detailed alien worlds No Man's Sky has to offer for the first time on console. Not only this, but all these improvements also come to PSVR 2 with our most stunning virtual reality imagery, offering an even more immersive experience for travelers amongst the stars. Small team at Hello Games like nothing more than play around with new technology, from supporting our players on the first generation hardware right back to Switch and PlayStation 4 to the highest end PCs, next generation consoles, and now support for cutting edge PlayStation 5 Pro is available at launch as another free update. The Normandy returns. Everyone here at Hello Games is a huge sci-fi nerd, one of our absolute favorite series in the incredible Mass Effect games. To join Mass Effect's annual N7 celebrations, Happy N7 Day, we are pleased to welcome the legendary SSV Normandy SR1 back in the No Man's Sky. It was back in 2021 that Normandy made its first appearance in one of the first expeditions we ever ran. The limited time expedition starts today, runs for 2 weeks, and culminates in players being able to claim the Normandy for their fleet. In the intervening years since the event, we have welcomed a huge number of travelers, not least a whole new cohort of Switch players, and increasingly large number of Chinese fans. Many of these new players have envied those who proudly displayed their Normandy in their Frigate collection. Mass Effect fans know that this legendary Frigate only appears when it's most needed. Today and for the next 2 weeks, as a love letter from one science fiction game to another, we are giving everyone another chance to encounter the Normandy and an overhauled version of the original mission added to their collection. Huge thanks to our friends at EA and BioWare for helping make this happen. It has been a momentous year for No Man's Sky in a number of ways. We're so grateful to be able to continue this journey with you. If you're interested in following along with updates for our upcoming project Light No Fire, you can wishlist it on Steam here. There are some patch notes. 5.25 patch notes. Cross save is now enabled for No Man's Sky, allowing players to transfer save games between all platforms. This feature is being released as a limited beta with a restricted number of places, which will be increased in the coming weeks. All players are invited to read about the feature and connect their platform accounts via the Getting Started link here. There's a link on the website. Beachhead Expedition begins today. Will run for 2 weeks alongside Priest Entity. Nada, investigate mysterious fluctuations in history already written and recruit the legendary SSV Normandy SR1 to your fleet. Fixed a crash related to loading multi-tools. Fixed a rare crash on PlayStation consoles. Fixed a memory crash on Xbox consoles. Fixed an issue preventing older PS4 saves from being loaded. Fixed a rare crash on Xbox when loading certain save games. Fixed an incorrect icon for the Grub Cocoon at the Quicksilver Synthesis Companion. Fixed incorrect icon and text in the catalog archive for the Cursed, and repositioned the save indicator on the main menu. So those are the latest patch notes from Hello Games and No Man's Sky. That's all I have for you guys. I thought it was going to be a shorter show, but it's about the same time. As always, believe in yourself first and foremost, because if you don't believe in yourself, of course, nobody else will believe in you. As always, my name is Derrick Lamon Jackson, and that is my time. Y'all have a good one. Peace out.